Okay, we're going to jump into Capricorn. Now, with Capricorn, we're getting to the stage of life where they're thinking about retirement and about financial security. When you're young, you're trying to, live life, you're trying to maybe buy the house, or, you're not always thinking about the 401k or, the retirement. And then later in life, you're like, man, we really should have put money aside. We really should have saved. We really should have thought about this. We really should have planned for an emergency. Well, that is the mindset that a Capricorn lives their whole life long, because they go through the stage of retirement, which would be about 57 to 63, when you're going through that life change. And what is it that you have at that point? That you've climbed the mountain? Do you have something to be proud of? That's why the Capricorn will climb the mountain their whole life long, slow and steady. It's ruled by Saturn, so we already know Saturn's the disciplinarian. So they kind of live this structured, disciplined life. Often they'll work from a very young age. Most Capricorns I've talked to started working when they were young, 13, 14, for their parents' business or grandparents' bakery. You'll hear these stories that they learned work ethic at a very, very young age. The symbol is the seahorse. So there's this earthy, or the sea goat. There's this earthy goat that's always climbing. And again, it's slow and sure climbing that mountain. And then at the same time, there's the other symbol of water here, that they are very intuitive. A lot of times you don't think Capricorns are very intuitive, but they're extremely intuitive when it comes to knowing what comes next, knowing not to miss a step, um, understanding the big picture. This is ruled by the 10th house of career. So this is the time again in your life where you're coming out and saying, this is who I am. Look what I've done. Look what I've accomplished. They're not so much needing attention. They can be kind of secretive about their money. In fact, this is like the billionaire that lives next door, that drives around in an old truck and nobody knew he had money. And he just lives like he doesn't, and then you find out, maybe passes away, and then you find out, oh my gosh, he was a millionaire or billionaire. They're pretty humble because they really don't want anyone to know that they have that kind of money, because they don't want to have to let them borrow it. They don't. They want to plan for the future. They're always planning for the future, even at a young age. They feel stressed out about money. Am I going to have enough? So a lot of times, if you see a Capricorn that's struggling financially, they're going to be really stressed out. They're going to be really unsettled, unbalanced. Their foundation is way off. So they're always looking to get back in a secure position. Here you will see people have government jobs, and they like those kind of jobs where it's like 9 to 5. I have a pension, I have medical, I have a paycheck, I know what I'm getting. Um, they're not always the best entrepreneurs, where Virgos are more scrappy. They're more entrepreneurs. They like to create things and, kind of nickel and dime it, where the Capricorn really wants to have financial security. Capricorn women, can come off as kind of cold. They're not necessarily cold, but they're not going to be the enablers. They want a man that can work. They're not going to pick up somebody that, is a slouch. They want a man that can go to work or support their career. They do look and are attracted to high-powered people, especially people with money. Or the Sagittarius really likes more of the person who's up front, that's getting all the attention, the guru, the preacher, the teacher, where the Capricorn really likes the person, that billionaire in the background is the one they want to talk to. How did you get there? They really, want power. And in the shadow side, can be obsessed with people with money, or marrying for money. Again, Capricorn women can emasculate a man that isn't meeting their financial standards or their work standards, putting them down, being just utterly disappointed with them. So, that can be hard. Um, Capricorn, is another sign where you will see, and this goes for men and women, women often marrying older men or much younger men. Okay, if they're pretty driven younger men, that's not uncommon either. Same thing with Capricorn men, have a younger woman or an older woman. There's something to do with, because they are kind of this old soul and in this retirement mode, that they like older, wiser people, or they want to be the caretaker for a younger person and keep them on track. So it can kind of go either way. Um, this is also a sign where you can see that they might have older parents. It's not uncommon for Capricorn children to be raised by older parents, kind of the late in life love child, or have a lot of older siblings, or be raised around a lot of adults, or older people, grandparents, uh, people that are wise. That's not uncommon at all either. When it comes to love, like I said, the financial issue is going to be extremely important. So, a Capricorn woman or man can really relax when they know everything's set financially, or at least they feel like they're in a good position. This can be the workaholic. So, if you are a woman Capricorn, it's not uncommon to be a workaholic, and you might marry a man. You do want to make sure they're a hard worker, but you might marry a Mr. Mom and let them take care of the kids and stay at home and do the whole thing. But again, if you lose respect for them in any way, it's not a good thing. Capricorns are controlling because they know that to get everything done that they have in their mind, high perfectionists, that everybody has to be responsible. Everybody has to do their part. Sometimes Capricorn women with even babies can get caught into maybe raising them more like structure, 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 not as go with the flow. We're getting up at this time, you're taking your bath, you're getting dressed, we're going to school, then you go to daycare, then this, then that, can be very, very, very disciplined. Capricorn dads or men, you know, sometimes they can come off with kind of a flatline personality, in terms of they don't necessarily get real excited about anything, because they're going to think about all of the nuts and bolts of what goes into it. So like the Sagittarius is all about the vision. I don't know how we're going to do it, but this is what we're going to do. And then here comes the Capricorn going, now I really know that sounds good, but did you think of this? What about the permits? What about the licensing? What about the taxes? What about this? What about that? So it's kind of like, oh man, they can kind of be the killjoy if you're wanting to have a visionary moment. Um, Kind of flat, like I said, personality wise, because they don't want to get too excited about anything, or they don't want to get too upset about anything. They like to stay really balanced. It's kind of that real strong earthy sign. These are people also that I consider the oak tree, like they're faithful, they're loyal, you can count on them. They'll always be there for you, especially if you want to talk about business, or you want to talk about foundational things, that you need their advice for, you need their help for. They love that. um, Sometimes they'll have a hard time looking you in the eyes. So, they can kind of call it like a deadpan, where they, won't really connect with you, because they struggle showing their emotions. Saturn doesn't like to show emotions. And so if they look at you in the eyes, or they really engage with you emotionally, it makes them feel vulnerable. And if they do trust you, and they do look at you, and they do offer that up, they're really giving you something special. They're really giving you something special. So that's something. But I have amazing Capricorns in my life, a lot of Capricorns through my family, and it just balances out. It balances out the situation. It always does. They are the voice of reason, and that is very, very important. Capricorn rules the knees, the joints, the teeth, arthritis. Sometimes you'll see Capricorns who have early arthritis. Sometimes they can look older even when they're younger, because it is Saturn and it's kind of an aging sign. Or maybe go bald young. I've seen that with Capricorns. You know, gray. early. You know, those are just some of the characteristics. But, you know, anytime I've like looked at charts, say for like musicians, let's just say like Pat Benatar and Steve Perry, from Journey, and like legendary musicians that had, you know, long careers, made a lot of money, sold a lot of albums, t-shirts, you know, the whole brand. They have a lot of Capricorn in their chart. They know how to build like empires. Okay, so it is the money sign. It's the sign that's making money. And, you know, you're probably going to do really well if you are a Capricorn or you marry a Capricorn. Just realize that, you know, you're going to be with a worker, and, you know, hard work will be a part of your life, but it'll also be those amazing accomplishments that come with the sign. Okay, so, all right. Well, here's, like I said, a few thoughts to think about. And if you have any questions or comments, comment below for my online members only. And I will be back for Aquarius. Talk to you later. Bye.